Hi guys, welcome back to video tutorial number 4 of the Future Frontiers coach training. Again, a quick recap. In the first video, we looked at the Discover section, what your pupils are interested in. In the second video, we looked at using START to explore what interests match different careers. In the last video, we looked at using different websites and resources to identify more information about those careers that your pupils have found interesting, as well as briefly looking at preparing for the NCS call. In this session, we're also going to look at preparing for the professional expert call and a quick reminder of how to find the relevant professional experts for your pupils. So there it is, speaking to an NCS advisor, that's what you'll be doing in the session coming up, and preparing for a professional expert call. In your coach handbook, you'll see that there are 4 or 5 ticks where we've already gone through the different topics in the last video. In this session, we're going to be looking at actually having the NCS call and then swapping your pupils with another coach and being interviewed by them so they can practice that for the professional expert call. And we're also going to be looking at creating questions for a professional expert. In the coach handbook, you'll see that we've already prepped the NCS call. This session we'll be looking at prepping the PE calls as well. Correspondingly, in the pupil handbook, you can see that it says speak to an NCS advisor as number 3 and interview another coach at number 4. So the pupils know where they stand. Okay, so just a recap from the last video. You remember we looked at this in a little bit of detail. Activity number 3 was preparing your pupils to speak to a National Careers Service advisor. The 2 things that they did were prepare 2 questions and then record those questions at this link, but also on page 21 of the pupil handbook in these 2 spaces. Now in the next session, you're actually going to be speaking to the NCS advisor with your pupils. So this is going to take place with your lead coach coming around with a laptop or a tablet to have a video conference call with your pupils and the NCS advisor, and you'll have about 3 to 5 minutes. Your role is obviously initially to encourage them to introduce themselves and say what their top career is, help them facilitate the conversation if they get a bit shy, make sure you take notes and also ask any appropriate questions if there is some pauses or some silences. Your pupils should take their notes, again on page 21 in this space. So what they learned from that call. Great, well moving on swiftly, you'll then be switching your pupils with another coach and being interviewed by other pupils and also then scoring those pupils on how they did in that interview. This is to prepare them for the professional expert conversations, and they're interviewing you on your current career or education journey. Your role is obviously to help your own pupils prepare to interview another coach by writing out a few questions, and also to mark off or score how you think that the new pupils that you're being interviewed by have done in that interview. You can see the criteria here. So conversation skills, professionalism, listening and probing questions, rating 1 to 5, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst, and then you can have some space for some pupil comments as well. So the corresponding page in the pupil handbook are 22 and 23. You see it's laid out like this. So in this section, you'll be helping your own pupils think about some questions, and there's some space there for them to think about what they found out. Questions might be like, what do you do on a daily basis? Or what did you study when you were at my age, etc., etc. The pupils, once they've actually done this and interviewed another coach, they'll score themselves as well. And then they'll ask the new coach that they've interviewed what scores they got. And then they can take some notes for how to improve. Now, the whole purpose of this is to prepare for the professional expert calls, which will be taking place the week after. So that's why it says at the bottom, don't forget to prepare some questions. At the bottom of the coach handbook, it also says don't forget to prepare a professional expert. So just a quick reminder of how we did this and what we looked at in training and how you're going to find a professional expert for your pupils. So the first thing is obviously sharing resources amongst your cohort. So you remember in training we talked about the group huddle and asking if anyone else in your cohort knows someone who you're looking for as a professional expert. Then obviously exploring your own personal networks. If it comes to it and you can't find one through the huddle or through the coach forum on the coach portal, you can then obviously use the professional expert bank on the coach portal. And you can then obviously just contact professional experts at random through LinkedIn or Facebook or just through email. And again, there's some templates on the coach portal and your lead coach will send those around. Now, a reminder why we're doing this. There's some research that's been done that says that students who have 4 or more activities or encounters with employers while they're at school are 5 times less likely to be NEET, so not in education, employment or training. So it will have a really big impact. So it's very important you make sure you find a professional expert for your pupils. Okay, so preparing their questions at the end of this session for the professional expert. Your main role here is to help them think of at least 5 questions that they can write down in their handbook so that they're prompted when they're talking to the professional expert. Make sure they remember what they asked the kind of coach, the other coach that they interviewed, and that will give them a bit of a feel for it. As well as, of course, if you do find more than one professional expert, try and fit that in and get them to write some more questions. So the corresponding page for this is page 26 in the pupil handbook. And you'll see it gives some really clear instructions to the pupils as to how to have that conversation. It does say don't worry if they feel nervous. Your role as the coach is to help them prepare and keep the conversation going when you are sitting in on that conversation. So you can see underneath there is the space for the 5 questions each of your pupils will ask that professional expert. So next week, in the next video, we will actually look at having that call. But until then, best of luck and hope you have a great session.